Humans are social beings, so it is always nice to have a friend by our side. However, not every friend is a good friend. Some people only act as a friend just to take advantage of you. So, that is why it's important to be careful when you're choosing your friends. I wasn't careful enough a few years ago. I had this friend. Let's call him Nate. Nate was supposed to be one of my best friends. He had me fooled in thinking so for pretty much the whole duration of our friendship. The whole time, I thought that Nate was the best friend in the whole world, but that was not the case. I would call him all the time, but he'd never do the same. He only called me when he needed something from me, and he'd get mad if I couldn't help him with what he needed. Nate was the type of friend who loved one-upping others, and that was very annoying. I remember one time I showed up in school with a cool pair of sneakers, and all our friends were telling me how nice my sneakers were. Nate did not say anything. Of course, that did not bother me. Everyone does not have the same taste, so it was totally understandable if Nate did not think that my shoes were nice. However, I did not like that he tried to bring me down and tried to one-up me just because of a pair of shoes. He said that the shoes were not special, and he already passed two similar pairs down to his little cousins. That was a very toxic trait that I didn't like at all. That wasn't all. Nate liked to talk behind others' backs. He would tell me how the other guys were bad friends, and how he could not stand them. But whenever the guys were around, he would act like he was their brother. That made me start thinking that Nate was kind of a snake. I started to think that he was probably doing the same thing to me when I was not around. I went to one of our friends, Eli. "Hey bro, I want to ask you a question, but promise me that you'll give me an honest answer." "I don't know, bro. I can't promise you anything, but I'll try to give you the best answer," he replied. "I don't need the best answer. Just tell me the truth." "What is it you want to ask me?" I asked him if Nate talked about me when I wasn't around. "Yeah, dude. Nate often talks about you. He sometimes says good things about you, but not all the time." "What do you mean not all the time?" I asked. Eli proceeded to tell me all the bad things Nate said about me when I wasn't around. I wasn't really surprised because I was expecting that since I had an idea what kind of person Nate was. After confirming that Nate was a real snake, I stopped hanging out with him. He noticed that, and he kept asking me why the sudden change. I told him that I was having some family problems, so I needed some time before we could hang out. Now looking back at it, I wish I had the courage to tell him, in his face, "You're a big snake, so I'm cutting you off." Nate, if you're watching this, I hope you've changed, because you were a big rat back then.